Welcome to the Author's Porch, where every good conversation happens. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. From author to author, we want to give you an experience where you learn and enjoy the conversation. Authors tell you about their journey, you learn about new books, and at the end of the day, you go home with a smile on your face because the Author's Porch is a beacon of light, bringing you home to the family you never knew you had. We hope that you enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Author's Porch, where every good conversation happens. We are excited to be here with you tonight. We have Vivianne Knebel on the show tonight. How are you doing, Vivianne?
I'm fine. Thank you, CJ. Thank you for having me, for the opportunity to talk about my book, my life.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. We're excited to have you and to learn so much from you tonight, guys. Vivianne is here, and she is best known for two of her memoirs, From Rubble to Champagne, and Lessons Learned About Life and Love, which both carry strong themes of gratitude and resilience. And when I hear that title, From Rubble to Champagne, I just absolutely love that because it has a strong resonance of you from nothing to just diamonds and glory and everything. And I just want to hear so much about how it goes from one to the other. So, Vivianne, it's an
Yes,
amazing. Yeah, I
yes,
want to
it
hear so
is.
much more.
Yeah, thank you for your interest. Well, it is an amazing story. I chose that title because I literally came out of the rubble of Berlin. I was born in the epicenter of Nazi Germany at the height of Nazi Germany.
Wow.
And I was born illegitimate, and therefore also deemed stateless. When you are an illegitimate child, you have the get the nationality of the father. Since I had no father, I had no country. So I
Wow.
had many strikes against me, and I remember the aftermath, of World War II ravaged Berlin, and being constantly hungry and cold. And my mother worked in the black market to support us, anything to bring food on the table, because I had a sister who was illegitimate as well. But nonetheless, we had the most fiercely devoted mother who instilled love and great values in us. And that is what really counts in life. And she always brought us up to have a dream. She always brought us up to have a dream. And but it was very tough. I had to practically ask for scraps for my cat, whereas my mother, it was not for us. My mother made soups, from those scraps. I remember myself going with a little pail, and it just now, with what is going on in the Ukraine, it just magnifies the whole thing. You think that people would learn from past experiences, from that horrible aggression, human aggression of war. You would think people would learn, but no, it continues. Very, very sad indeed. But I thought I have a story within me that people want to know about, in
Yeah.
order to learn from the past. And I was the weakest link. I had problems following the concepts of the teacher in school. I was condemned. I was condemned dumb to my mother, and I had to repeat the first grade. It did not help my self-esteem. I had none. I had no self-esteem. I felt worthless, and in the end, my mother, when I was about 13, my mother immigrated to Canada. We were a wave of struggling German immigrants in Canada. And
Mm.
at 14, I asked my mother, because we had problems even in the country in Canada as we arrived, because there was no work to be found and we didn't speak the language. And so we were on the brink of despair again. And my mother walked into a church with me and asked the priest for assistance to keep us afloat. The priest handed us $35. I remember that, so we kept on going. My mother bought the staples, so we got through this tough time. And at the age of 14, I asked my mother if I could not work to support the family, and she went. She had to get a special permit because of that child labor law. And so she got the permit, and I landed a job, and I thought it was a dream job at a dentist who wanted to teach me to become a dental assistant. And I was always willing to grow and learn and do my best. And one day, one of his friends, I was only 14, one of his friends in the mid 40s, he came in, and while the doctor was not there, while I was alone with him, and sexually abused me. And that was very traumatic for me to actually talk about it, to tell him, my boss, what happened. And because I was so ashamed, so embarrassed, and so innocent. But I did muster up the courage to tell him because I was afraid he would come back and do it again. So, but I told my mother about this. My mother said, you have to leave. And so I left that position and then started working at a 5 and 10 cent store at Woolworths behind a lunch counter. I had no
Oh, Lord.
experience other, and I was always eager to please and made sandwiches with care and heart for people. And but I knew in order to grow and to further myself, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to improve my station in life. And so I went to night school, and I learned to stenography and to type. And eventually there was a job opening at Volkswagen Sales and Service, that iconic car dealership. And I got the job right away during my lunch hour. I went there to apply, and I got it right away. And but that was not the ideal thing. I worked there in a room full of older women, no camaraderie, no connection, and I spiraled into deep depression. And I thought, no matter how much I try, I don't seem to be able to get anywhere. I became deeply depressed. And I had bought, at that time I was 17, and I had bought a used car already for myself. And I heard somewhere that when you close a garage door and start the motor, that carbon monoxide would render you unconscious and you
Yeah.
drift to your ultimate end. So that is what I did. Unbelievable,
My God.
but that's what I did because I was young. I did not know that life can change. It's not static. I was young and I had no idea, and I just gave up. And it was a miracle that a little girl, while I was sitting there in the car with the motor running the closed garage door, a little girl came up to my window and said, "What are you doing?" And I immediately turned off the motor, opened the garage door. She must have been around 6 years old. And I told her meekly, "I'm going to wash my car." And she skipped off blissfully unaware she had saved my life. And I thought, where did she come from? And I realized there was a side door, and she must have come in there. It was a garage of a duplex. I rented that garage from the owner of a duplex. So, I clung to a glimmer of hope and just kept on going. And so I had the courage to keep on going, and eventually there was a position open um, downstairs as to be a secretary for the service manager. And since I knew typing and stenography, I got the job, and things became better. I had life around me, and
Mhm.
I started to have be more hopeful. And at the age of 20, a customer came in, bought a Porsche, and he became my husband.
Oh, wow.
And he was also a German immigrant, and he also had a lot of adversities behind him, a lot of challenges. He was 4 years older, so he remembers the war and the flight from Germany,
Mm.
where they had to fall down on their stomachs, lie down when the planes came over and shot. And he was also in a labor camp in a room with 13 people. um, four, seven of them was his family, were his family, and the rest were strangers. And they were all in one room in bunk beds and had one pail in the middle where they would do their business, you know. And so it was a horrible experience for him, but we connected because perhaps because we were both immigrants and we both had so much tragedy behind us. And he encouraged me to learn and grow and was always the wind beneath my wings. And uh, he just believed in me. And it was so beautiful to have someone believe in you. And that build me up and gave me confidence. And I learned to pilot a plane. I ran a marathon just
Wow.
because he said, you can do this. And I helped him in his business. And so I became confident. So from the weakest link, I became the strongest link. And my message in this book, it's a book about love and the human spirit and about resilience. We can overcome, and I want to help those that feel suppressed and defeated.
Mm.
So, and
And
then I decided, you know, my life was so perfect. Of course, I had, you always have challenges. We will always be confronted with challenges because life is a cycle of constant ups and downs. It was also perfect. And then I was diagnosed at the age of 70 with breast cancer.
wow.
And then that was like a shock for me, of course. But I already by that time had such an optimistic outlook on life and was so positive. Uh, and I thought, when I went home, I thought, how am I going to deal with cancer? And then I said, you know, I said, I'm not going to be the victim. I was optimistic. I was grateful, immensely grateful that they found it at an early stage. So there, my gratitude kicked in, and I already felt a shift. And I felt that already a shift. And I kept on being positive about it. And I've been cancer free for 9 years. I had the operation, I had to go through the
Wow.
radiation, all that, but I did it with positivity and hope. And I want to stress that it's so important to stay optimistic, positive, and never to lose hope. And I wanted to pass that on to others. And then I decided to write this book because I thought this is a story I think people need to hear about and maybe derive strength from it, because everybody struggles at some point in time. You know, challenges are part of life. You know,
Mm.
that is what makes us strong, and it builds resilience. So I wanted to share that, and wrote that book in appreciation for my husband for all that he has done for me. And I gave this book for his as a gift for his 80th birthday.
Wow.
And so that's how From Rubble to Champagne came about.
Mhm.
And all these years I've been, studying the works of the great philosophers, the great minds and poets that give us values. And it made so much sense. They helped me make sense of the world. They showed me the way, and I applied that wisdom in my life. And this book is all about what I've learned, how I apply this wisdom, and how it helps me and would help others. And also another challenge came up. My husband was diagnosed with two very serious illnesses, and I almost lost him last year
Mm.
while I was writing my second book. And I thought he may not get to read this book. And again, this was dedicated to him, to show people what a truly beautiful soul he is. And when he was diagnosed with serious heart disease and advanced liver disease, I decided, you know, we're going to lick this. This is our disease, I said to him. We are going to lick this. And it just once again shows that with positivity and optimism, you can work miracles. And I also write about the aging process. I'm now going to be, in May, I'll be 79. I feel strong. I feel this is a beautiful stage in my life because, thank heaven, I'm healthy now.
Yeah.
And I have maintained curiosity and interest. And I believe, age to see it as a deficiency or decline, I think that's wrong.
Mm.
It is a time where we can move forward and do things that we have not done before and use our wisdom.
Yes.
There's so much to give, and there's so much beauty in aging, really, because I see it as wisdom and strength. And I want to also build others up that are my age or even older, how we can see this as being positive instead of negative,
Yeah.
and make
I
something beautiful of aging.
I agree with you 100%. A lot of people look at it as a decline. Once you get to a certain age, you're going down. But I think that age is something not afforded to everybody. Not everybody
Right.
gets an
Again,
opportunity to age.
yes,
And it is one of the greatest gifts that we could ever have is the ability to age. And with
yes,
that comes opportunities to learn more and to, like, every day that I wake up, I am blessed to have an opportunity to know what I know that I didn't know the day before, and to
yes.
grow even more in my wisdom and my learning. And I think the way you said it is so elegant.
We have to really reinforce our belief in the preciousness of life.
Mm,
I say this now. I sit here because I have really the inner dignity of a fully loved life. And
mm,
that therefore, even though at the age of 17, I tried to take this very life, and now I see how precious it is, how
yeah.
beautiful it can be, and how I would encourage people, if you see someone that has little self-confidence or is down, if you can lift that person up, to me, that is the most beautiful thing a human being can do, to lift others up, because we are here to carry each other,
Yeah.
and walk each other home. And I think it's all a mindset. It's a
Right.
mindset. But life is so truly beautiful. And even when we're old, and even some people, debility has the upper hand. I can see how difficult that must be, but we can still be, and we can still have our wisdom and share that with others.
Mm.
There are many ways to still be valuable. I think we need to see older people not as burdens, but as important people, as important. Old is not less than young. It's just like the color blue is not better than red. It's just different.
And it has so much to offer. Experience is worth its weight in gold.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
uh, life experiences, they are more convincing than theories.
Yes.
I've lived through it, and this is why I want to write about it here. I've been there. I want people to
Yeah.
understand I've been there. We can do hard things,
Mm.
with the right mindset and gratitude. CJ, I find gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. When we are grateful, negative emotions are replaced with positive ones, and that leads to happiness and inner contentment.
It does. And I like your story of the little girl who came in, and saved your life. I think that
Unbelievable.
she was put there at a very strategic moment in your life so that you could share this message.
It
And
makes you wonder.
yeah, she wasn't there in a forceful way. A lot of people think that they have to force their way into showing you how to be grateful, and they have to, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, and you have to. And she just
Showed me the
quietly
way.
came and she says, "What are you doing?"
Yeah,
And it was such a deliberate yet peaceful way
yeah. That's a
to,
nice way that you say this, CJ. I really like it. I've never heard it from that, but so true.
yeah,
And there has to be a greater meaning. I believe, I have all my needs are filled. I don't really. I like beautiful things. I enjoy them. They bring me a good mood. It's all this, but I realize that's only transient. And I want to chisel away and work more instead of on the outside, I want to work more from within to reach that lasting contentness, to be content, to have a contentment that lasts. And that comes from within, it's intrinsic. And that's what I'm so working at. And I already feel it. I feel like I said, I have the most beautiful life you can imagine. It's peaceful. It's with peaceful awareness that I go through life, and gratitude, immense, immense gratitude for the smallest of things.
Yeah.
When you
Peaceful
hurt,
gratitude is a beautiful way of putting it.
yes, yes, and I think, CJ, when you deeply hurt, I think then you ask the deepest questions, and you also have more empathy for others
Mm,
because you know what it's like to hurt.
yes.
So I believe somehow we have a purpose. We're here for a reason. And this intervention with this little girl was, I don't think it was fortuitous. I think there was a deeper meaning for it. I think I'm here as a guide now to show people the way it can be done. I've done it. You can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now,
And
what
if
do
you
you,
cannot, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
If you cannot find a person, like I was very fortunate that my husband came into my life and saw the potential in me, because he saw that I was always striving and trying to do my very best. If you're not as fortunate to have that person come into your life, there are books out there. There are books that will tell you, that will guide you. From, like I did, I bought the books from the philosophers, from great minds, from poets that have shown me the way. It's possible for each and every one of us to learn how to do it, to find a way, uh, for someone to show us, whether it's personally or in a book. If you pay attention, attention, attention. I think attention, when you pay attention and are aware of the smallest of things, you come into a full rapport with life.
You're right. And the great philosophers were human beings who had went through things in their life and were able to articulate it into a book and into communicative messages in order to share with other people the very same way that you have done.
Yes,
So whereas Aristotle and all the other great philosophers of those days that we know and we understand, who's to say that Vivian and other people who are writing books right now, our children and their children, don't look to you and your message as the great philosophers that they understand and they connect with. So
yes,
it's very important that when you are given a message, that you are saved, whether it be a little girl who walks in when you're trying to leave this world, or another way that stops you from leaving this world. When something intervenes so divinely that way, and you are able to share it's almost, you have to share that message.
yes, yes. It was a divine intervention, and I feel I have to share that message. You're so right. Yes. Yes, and also, today we are in this treadmill. On this treadmill, people cannot really find lasting contentment because we're always trying to get more and more of everything. And in the meantime, we are so underdeveloped within. We're downright impoverished. We just work on the outside, not on the inside. And I think we need to make a change there. Don't you think?
I agree with you. And how would you say an individual would do that? What would be their first step to try to work on the inside?
Yeah, first, I think you ask yourself, how do I find my way to lasting contentment? That's what I ask myself, really. And what you do is actually you set a foundation for practice, and then you dedicate yourself to that practice and show up for it. You stay the course, and I think that's what it is. You find a way to move forward that is virtuous and loving and go find the right path and stay on that path and stay dedicated, devoted to it. That's how I am with everything that I do. I ask myself, where is this going to take me? Number one. And then I make a plan and then I follow it.
A lot of people, I think that is some of the problems with just the world is following the plan and staying on the path. There's so many
You,
things that distract you from that.
yes, yes, it can be hard, but it's a question of what's important to me. What is on my list of priorities? For many years, for a long time, I was very materialistic, and but then comes a time, we when we realize all these things, these nice things, they are beautiful and there's nothing evil about them. But if that's the only thing you can that is the only way you can find contentment, then I would say you're on the wrong path. You want lasting contentment, and that comes, find the joy find the joy in the everyday ordinary things, which seem maybe ordinary, but they're not. They're the big things. I take a loaf of bread, CJ, and I will never, when I slice that bread, I will never just slice the slice of bread. I will always do it with awareness and gratitude, because I once was hungry. you know Sometimes,
Yeah.
these things, these experiences, they made their mark on me, but they made me resilient, they made me grateful. So, I don't wish this kind of a life on any young person that I had, but I am grateful for it, that I went through these experiences, because I can see, and I make the ordinary special. Everything. Look, go out, look at the sun rising, look at the flower, you know blooming. I love to garden is a real and honest thing. I love the soil, the warm soil in my hands, and I feel close to God that way. It's very real, it's very honest, I think.
Yeah. I've said it before and I always say it. It's in the ordinary where you find the extraordinary.
So
You
true.
know,
And people don't see it. It's not that no one tells them, it's they're unable to hear or unable to see. But if you pay attention, you can. It's Put your mind to it. Say, what do I want? Do I want lasting peace and contentment? That is wealth, CJ. That is the true wealth. I can say this because I experience it.
yeah, I agree with you 100%.
I
This
wish this
is
for everyone.
yeah. What a wonderful way of thinking and what an amazing journey, Vivian. I am so blessed to hear your story and from where you came from. In 2013, I had the opportunity to go live in Germany through my
Ah,
military career. We went to Spangdahlem. We were living in Spangdahlem for 3 years. I lived in Niederkyle, to be exact. That was the little
ah,
village we lived in, and I loved it. It was a different time, obviously. We didn't go through the trials and tribulations that you and your family had to go through.
right.
I look at what is going on in the world now, and it's almost history repeating itself, but only in a
It's
different area. And
Yes.
I don't actually understand how that's still happening in the world. But
You know what it is, CJ? I think it's ego. It's that ego that has the stranglehold on people, uh, that power, that craving for power, more land, more, being more important. And I think as long as we have this unhealthy ego is good, in balance, because we have to have a certain amount of ego in order to function in this Western world. We have to have that. But when it's out of proportion, that's when it leads to suffering. And it's that ego. I think without that horrible ego. And you know, at the time when I left Germany, I was 13, and I remember the boat making its way into the water. My experiences in Germany were not good ones. I felt I did not feel welcome because I was not accepted as a German citizen. I had so many strikes against me that my memories were not good. And yet I was born and raised there. And when I left, I had tears in my eyes because I left everything that was familiar to me. And I so feel for those poor people in the Ukraine now. But I know that feeling. I left everything that was familiar to me and I vowed, and I actually manifested my life at that time already. I vowed to myself, I said, one day I will return and I will come back beautifully dressed and successful and I will show them. Can you believe that?
Wow.
I manifested my life and it's something I put that seed in my mind and I watered that seed. Yes, the path was long and hard, to walk that long path to find my way to fulfillment to find that. It was a long, long road, but stayed with the course. I stayed the course.
And did you ever return to Germany?
Oh, yes. Then I returned the first time with my husband. He asked me, we met and dated, and then he wanted to introduce me to his mother, and he was going overseas, and he wanted to take me along. And I said, oh, I can't travel. I'm not unmarried. I can't travel. I did not want to follow the path that my mother took. My mother, she was a rebel and nonconformist, but like I said, she was ahead of her time. But she had a hard life because of that, especially during that time, having two illegitimate children in Nazi Germany. Can you imagine? Germans so rigid, but she
Yeah.
went against all grains. And I said to myself, I'm going to uh, take a different route. I live in a society, I'm going to abide by it, and I'm going to do my very best. And I did not want to make the same mistakes. But then on the other hand, were they mistakes that my mother made? Actually not, because she had two loving daughters with good and instill great values. My sister is the same way as I am. So I think we are a contribution to society. I truly believe that of myself. I look in the mirror and I say to myself, I'm decent. I'm the way I want to be. I make self checks. I take inventory of myself. Every once
Mhm.
in a while, I ask myself, is this the right thing? You know, because things want to sneak in sometimes as we
Yeah.
go through life. So, no, that's not how I want to be. So, to get back to the story, my husband wanted to take me over and say, I can't do that. I can't. So, I stayed behind and he stayed in touch with me in German while in Germany. And I said, something inside of me told me, I must do this. I must do this. So I did follow. I went over and he took me to the south of France and I fell in love, truly in love. And then we came back and he wanted to wanted to be engaged with me. And then shortly thereafter, he asked me to marry him. So it was a beautiful love story, and it is still a love
Yes.
story. I've
Oh,
been
wow.
married for 57 years. I love him with all my heart. He did not just teach me to make it in life, he taught me to thrive. I have so much to be grateful, and that's why this book came out.
That's beautiful. 50, over 50 years of marriage.
57 years of marriage, and it's a beautiful to this day. It just changes. Love has so many facets. At first, it's the physical love, and then there are other facets, the nurturing, the sense of responsibility, all that he has. And I'm so grateful for that. And like I said, let us be grateful for everything. Let us never depreciate, because the more empty we feel, you know the more it's because we depreciate.
Yeah. Well, we don't as we age. We just get better and we grow
Hopefully.
more
Yes,
as
yes,
individuals. Yeah.
yes,
So,
yes.
can you give us the name of your two books again, Vivian?
Yes, the first name of the book, the first book was From Rubble to Champagne. Rising from, the subtitle is Rising from the Ashes of War-Torn Berlin to a Life of Grace, Beauty, and Gratitude.
Mm,
And the second book is called Lessons Learned in Life and Love,
hmm.
Living with Intention, and the Wisdom of Great Minds.
Absolutely beautiful. This is an amazing story going. I'm just you hear the clicking because I'm adding your website into the Facebook and the YouTube. I want to make sure if anybody wants to go and visit and learn more about you or your book, they have the opportunity. So I'm adding that in there now. Um,
Oh, thank
it's a
you. Yes.
absolutely amazing story because a lot of people don't know what it was truly like back then. They also don't understand what it is like to have to escape
Oh,
a
yes,
place,
yes.
and then how to stay positive. They can't find that place in their head, and I know
But
personally, I struggle with it at times. I go into dark places and then I have to pull myself out, and then I'm good for a while, and I go back into a dark place, and then I have to pull myself out,
don't even allow
and
yourself to go to that dark place. You know, stay positive because your mind is your kingdom. You know, you only
absolutely.
let in what you allow it to let in. I
Mm,
don't allow any negativity to enter my mind. And love, love is the biggest, most powerful thing that you can imagine. It blocks, it releases blocked energy. It unconditional love is the most beautiful thing, where there you don't expect anything. It's not I love you for this and I love you for that. I just love. That means I experiencing the harmonies of life.
mm,
That is, it eludes most people because they see it as a sentiment, but
mhm.
in reality it is what I do. I enjoy the harmonies of life.
Enjoy the harmonies of life.
Yes,
That is a
that is,
beautiful.
you go out and everything strokes you the right way. It has nothing to do with things.
Mhm.
Everything seems one, and everything is one. When it comes down to it, we're all interconnected, deeply
Very
interconnected.
true.
And the more we realize that, the kinder we are toward others. This war would not happen.
That's true. That is very true.
And what you do when these people, it's so tragic. It's so tragic that when I see these faces and everything they built, in their lives is destroyed. But then I remember as a child, we called them the Rubble women in Berlin. They had kerchiefs around their head, and all they did was pound the mortar off the bricks from the ruins to rebuild. To rebuild. So people stoop and they rebuild from something that is broken. It can be done.
Absolutely.
It can be done. And our life is the quest of our life, is the meaning, really is not just to find pleasure. It is to find purpose. To find purpose is so important. Purpose also breeds resilience. And so we have to have a purpose. We have to get up, be able to get up in the morning. "Oh, I'm going to do something." And in the meaning, in if you really think about the meaning, it's in work, it's doing something that is significant.
Hmm.
And in love, it's taking care of someone, caring for someone, which I'm doing for my husband now, which is great joy. It's great joy to care for someone,
Yeah,
especially someone that has been so good to you.
right. I think everybody should find their purpose, and once they do that, then they'll have a more fulfilled life. And I thank you so much for sharing all of your amazing wisdom with us. Your books, I think people are going to find inspiring, and they should definitely go and take a look at them. I appreciate you being here with us tonight, Vivian, and sharing your
Thank you.
story, your life story, your love story as well,
Yes,
because it's a
it's
beautiful love story.
it is. It is really one of a kind. And but we can all have this if we don't just always think of me. Let's think of us. Let's use that pronoun us instead of me all the time. What can I do instead of, oh, what can I get out of this? Ask
Absolutely.
yourself, what can I do? This is how we better the world. I want to leave this place a little bit better than I found it. And that is my mission, to help others. And if my books will fall on fruitful ground, so to speak, if then that would fulfill my mission. That's what
Absolutely.
I'm here for.
Now, is your website the best place that people can reach you?
Yes, website. I'm on Instagram website. I'm on Facebook as well.
Okay.
Twitter, I'm everywhere. I have a podcast which is called Lessons Learned About Life and Love, where I discuss, we talk about everything, about faith, about anxiety, about loss, grief, love, everything. And I think it's all human emotions. And I think it's important. It's important because we live in the world of our feelings.
Mm. Now, I have your website up on the Facebook and the YouTube, but in a couple days, this is going to go over on the podcast, so they can't actually see the website. Can you tell them what your website is so they can hear it and they'll be able to go and plug it into their browsers?
Yes, who do I tell that to?
Just if you could say it out loud so the podcast people that are
Oh,
listening, they'll be
oh,
able
the
to hear it.
website is vivianneknebel.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Vivian. I've enjoyed conversating with you, learning about your story, your love story, all the positivity, and learning that not only learning, but reinforcing the fact that as we grow, it's not a decline. It's
No,
actually this beautiful opportunity to be more inclined to learn and become a better version of yourself every single day.
that
So
too,
thank you
and
so
share
much.
the wisdom and help others.
Yeah. So thank you so
There's
much for
so
being
much
here.
beauty in aging. Thank you so much, CJ, for having me, for allowing me to have a voice. I truly enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks everybody for watching. And we will see you guys next time, either here on Facebook, YouTube, or over on the podcast. So make sure you guys tune in. Bye, Vivian. Bye,
Bye
everybody.
bye. Thank you,
Bye. Thank
CJ.
you.
The Author's Porch is a certified veteran hosted podcast. Show your support, tune in, share, and subscribe.